Hello everyone, I'm Rachel and I welcome you all today to Executive Corner Expert Talks. I'm speaking with David Leslie Breeze. He's the Executive Chairman and Managing Director and Company Secretary at BPH Energy. BPH Energy is a diversified company that holds significant investments across different sectors, including biotechnology and also resources. Here at Kalkine, we bring you industry leaders, successful business owners, market and equity advocates all under one roof to help you discover the insides of the stock markets and help you understand how you can create multiple passive income streams. Welcome to you today, David.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you and your listeners.
Great to speak with you today. Very excited to hear all your information. So we do know the PEP 11 gas project is located in the neighbourhood of Australia's largest gas markets. Now, could you highlight the potential opportunities for this gas project?
Certainly. When you look at New South Wales, it imports around 98% of its current gas requirements from other states currently. It comes by pipeline from Victoria and from South Australia, and also potentially around from Queensland. You actually have something like 300,000 jobs in New South Wales that rely on gas supply, and that's 33,000 businesses, and they cover the entire area from fertiliser through to bakeries, chemicals, plastics, brickworks, and a whole range of other services. Now, that's around $33 billion in added value into that marketplace as a result of this gas. Now, there are several factors that are changing, and the importance of this is recognised by the New South Wales and Australian governments in the MOU that they signed at the beginning of 2020, whereby the Australian government agreed to fund $2 billion to the New South Wales government in order that the government would then increase the gas supply into New South Wales, or facilitate the increase of gas supply into New South Wales by 70 petajoules a year. That's as much, if you like, as is being mooted to be produced from the Santos project up in northern New South Wales in a single year. Now, in addition to that, of course, Australia and New South Wales in particular is in a transition phase from moving from coal-fired power station to gas-fired power. And so, in fact, you have the new gas-fired power station being built at Kurri Kurri near Newcastle in the Hunter Valley. And you have, in addition to that, a new gas-fired power station being mooted for Port Kembla. And so, in fact, you have a whole range of industrial usage but also domestic usage for heating and cooking right across New South Wales. Now, in Victoria, the offshore gas fields there are forecast to reduce by 43% over the next 5 years. And so finding, sourcing and delivering new alternative sources of gas supply really become a crucial element, as evidenced by that payment by the federal government into the New South Wales government for the sourcing of that. Now, in addition, of course, and we'll speak, I think, further about that, the New South Wales and federal governments are both looking for geosequestration or carbon storage. And we have of course, offshore New South Wales, in the area just south of Newcastle, the potential to store that carbon for the future, and thereby to ensure the significant reduction of carbon. And that again is part of what the federal government is looking for by way of their current environmental initiatives, in particular their commitment to net zero by 2050.
Yes, and David, I'd love to touch a little bit more on that. With BPH and your partners very keen to evaluate the potential for carbon capture and also storage there, as you mentioned, particularly at PEB 11 project. So the dual opportunity of gas and carbon capture and storage, that could be so significant for the regional economy. Could you talk to us more about this?
Absolutely. In fact, 1/3 of all of Australia's carbon emissions comes from a series of industrial users and, of course, domestic areas. And that 1/3 comes from Newcastle, around through Sydney and down into Port Kembla. And so, in fact, you have a very significant portion of all of Australia's carbon emissions. So if you think about if you can achieve a 20% reduction, then in fact you're going a long way towards achieving the net zero emission reduction. And the offshore Sydney Basin is a recognised basin with the potential for carbon storage and multi-TCF storage areas. The next nearest place that is recognised and is being researched at the moment is out in the Darling Basin, which is right over on the New South Wales border. And in this area of carbon reduction, having areas of potential storage immediately adjacent to those sources becomes critical. It's like real estate, it's position, position, position.
And BPH has been regularly sharing updates on the proposed Sea Blue 1 exploration well program. Can you tell me about progress with this?
So what we've done is to make an application to NOPTA, which is the regulatory authority over offshore permits, and that application has been made to them to enable the extension of the existing permit term to enable the drilling of Sea Blue 1 well. And we're currently awaiting the feedback or for the approval on that matter from the joint authority. And the next steps that we're undertaking currently, whilst that decision is pending, is going through matters like putting out tenders for rigs, for other long lead items like wellheads and management, drilling management services and other ancillary services, including all of the preparation that is necessary for the environmental approval process. And that is underway at the moment, and we're going through that very long and extended and extremely careful process of the preparation of the environmental planning issues. And we've appointed Zodis, who is an independent, a recognised expert in this field again on a global basis.
And moving on to another part of your business, Cortical Dynamics has already lodged an application for its brain anesthesia response monitor, and that's with the US FDA. How soon can the medical device be expected in the US and perhaps potentially other markets?
So we already have approval for the device in Australia with the TGA, and there is a mutual recognition of the TGA with the European Union. And again, we have approval in that marketplace at the moment. We went through a process for a Korean approval with the KFDA, and we received that approval. Now, the KFDA approval took around a year in the process of preparation and application approval, and it's possible that process with the FDA might take at least through until next year in order to receive that approval process. And of course, the FDA enables access to medical devices and other products into the US market, which is well recognised as the largest marketplace in the world for those type of devices and products.
And BPH is such a diversified and interesting company. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to share there, David?
Yes, the combination of the need to sequester or to remove carbon from the atmosphere, and the need for jobs, that contribution to the environment, the reduced carbon dioxide emissions that comes from using gas for gas-fired power generation, and the need for additional sources for gas into the economy, keeping household energy costs low, becomes a critical element. And we've undertaken to supply all of the gas that is developed out of the offshore gas fields into the New South Wales and Eastern Seaboard market. And as has been recognised by the ACCC and other independent sources, finding and delivering new sources of gas into the East Coast market for Australia becomes critical to those households and to those businesses. And we're certainly looking forward to the capacity to bring gas into that marketplace.
Well, it's certainly a fascinating space to be in, particularly at this time. Oh, it was great to chat to you today, David. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks indeed. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much. We'll be keeping a close eye on the company. And with that, I will sign off for today, but watch this space for more. Till then, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.